Welcome back, guys, to Wires Up TV. We are breaking down tonight the Toa Samoa Squad for this year's Pacific Championships. Look, a few changes from the World Cup. Obviously, the likes of Josh Papali'i retiring. A few movements. Obviously, Chanel Harris-Tavita has was retired, but now is returning. Obviously, back to the Warriors. So, a few dropped out, and some nice inclusions as well for this team. Look, starting off with Jesse Arthurs, I thought Jesse Arthurs was going to make the Kiwis, obviously dual eligible, and awesome for him to represent Samoa. He'll be good coming off a great season. Eden Dejan Arce as well in the halves. A good solid half, obviously not top tier where the likes of Australia have so much depth in the halves, but he's played a considerable amount of first grade this year. He should be pretty good in my eyes. Then you got Jordan Chan Kum Tong. Now he is from Manly. I think he played one game this season, mainly a New South Wales Cup player, but a lot of potential. And I see a lot of these guys. It's an opportunity for them to get on an international scene and make a name for themselves. We've seen that over the years where players, Isaiah Katoa last year played a really good World Cup, and it solidified that he was a first grader going into the Dolphins season this year. Yeah, so yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for the likes of Chan Kum Tong to set himself a target to be able to play first grade this year. So it'll be interested to see where he plays. And then in the back line, you got your Stephen Crichton's world class. We've seen what he can do. Be interested to see if they play him at fullback. I mean, they've got options now with Jesse Arthur as a potential centre or a wing. And then Sualovi Fa'alongo, that's a good one too, from the Melbourne Storm. Melbourne produced player, actually, and has a lot of potential in terms of speed. We saw that against the Broncos in that last round of the NRL season. So he's going to be deadly. Potential fullback starter in my eyes. And then you go down to obviously Brian Tor, the beast that he is. They're going to be solid for yardage. They're going to be pretty strong coming out of their own end, and also finishing. And Brian, he's world class. And if they get it right, with Brian leading off these sets, it's going to be deadly. Then Isaac Tungle, we know he's solid. Probably hasn't had the best into the season. Probably a mixed season, if I'm being honest. But in the Samoan jumper, I'm sure he'll do a reasonable job. So, and then you got the likes of Kyle Olawapu as well, a young player from the Bulldogs with a lot of potential from Wellington. And he'll be looking similar to Jordan Chan Kum Tong, Sualovi Fa'alongo, trying to make a name for themselves on the international scene to set themselves up for next year. And then we've got going into their forward pack guys, Royce Hunt. He'll be solid. I wonder if he'll come off the bench or if he'll be a starting prop with them. Luciano Leilua, we know how damaging he's been at the Cowboys. He's a real threat on the edge, in my view. Then you add in Connelly Lemuelu, and he's been just as good as well on the left edge for the Dolphins. So they've got quite good strike attacking back row options there. And then you got Spencer Lenu. So that'd be interesting. Usually Royce Hunt coming off the bench for the Sharks, Lenu off the bench for the Panthers. Which one of those two, or do you double up with those two off the bench? Or there's a few options there, I suppose. And Helam Luki as well, another back row option, or another front row option. I feel he's a really star of the future in my eyes. Justin Matamua, I haven't come across Justin much, to be honest, but sorry, I forgot Greg Marju as well. So if you look at the back five, Greg Marju, Brian Tor, and then you got maybe Arthurs and Crichton in the halves with a Sua Fa'alongo at the back, mate. You got speed for days. You've got attack in the strike in the centres. You've got pretty much everything right there in that back line. And then Terrell May, I've loved the way he's worked in the back end of the season for the Roosters. He's definitely a star of the future. Keenan Palacia, another one from the Broncos, I thought has had a great season. And then Utoi Kamanu from the Tigers. That front row added with the captain, Junior Paulo. That's a really solid forward pack. That's more than capable of competing with a Lindsay Collins, Payne Haas, to an extent. Obviously, probably a more physical pack. Probably doesn't have them as much in terms of distribution and and attacking play, I suppose, from creative plays from like Isaiah Yo or that type. But that pack for me could do a muscle up job on the Kiwis. So I think it's a good squad. Now, in all things islands, even the Kiwis and not the Kangaroos as such, but it's always the spine players. I think from the looks of it, it's going to be Kawa Lawapu and Dejan Arce are going to be your halves at the moment, and I'm not even sure who might be the hooker. But there's a few. Jordan Gordon Chan Kum Tong again. So these are young, inexperienced spine players. How can you get them working in the next 3 to 4? It's a 4 week tournament. It's not a very long time. How do you get it to flow enough to get enough points to support your forward pack? Because I think your forward pack and your back five, they'll be fine. But when you're getting into the red zone, how can you structure it enough to help your forwards? The forwards will provide that platform. Your back five will always be giving you meters. So it's a matter of, can you direct your team around? Can you get a good kicking game in? When you're in the red zone, can you capitalize? And those types of things. So going to be interesting for them. But that is a solid squad, and a lot of great talent and options. And their coach, from the assistant from Penrith, I'm sure he'll probably go in with a mindset of, how can I make this work and how can I make it simple, and use probably the Penrith model in a way to play percentages, play completions, because that's really what's going to help the island teams, is that take the emotion out of it, take all the errors out of it. If you can be structured and complete, and limit your errors, you can compete with the Australians. You can be in a match with the Australians right till the 70th minute, and then it comes down to spine players, and or you could even possibly beat the Kiwis, and go toe for toe. So it's going to be very interesting how it plays out. I think it's going to be the Pacific Championship. The top level is going to be very good between the Kangaroos, Toa Samoa, and the Kiwis. So exciting, guys! It looks like it's going to be a great matchup. Hopefully it sells out at Eden Park. I'm looking forward to that. I'll probably head up myself, but also their first game is in North Queensland, so a big test up against the Kangaroos. It's never easy, but can you snag one early, and then going to the Kiwis? You don't have to so much as win, but potentially there's a chance for them. But I think a lot will weigh on their first game. If they lose the first one, then they're going to have to really beat the Kiwis, but you never know what can happen. It's a short tournament. It's whoever's the most prepared, most in sync, who has the best combinations. And so I think they've got a really good squad. But guys, anyways, thanks for that. Please like, share, and subscribe to Wise Up TV, and we'll catch you later.